set our sampling frame and population. In our research, we plan to set our experiment amongst students currently studying in Taylor's College under CPU program. Our research is mainly focused on the CPU student because unlike any other program such as Cal or SAM, there are quite a number of students who has an early morning class, in this case period 1, which is an 8 a.m. in the morning. And we think this data would provide us with more valuable data. Waking up for 8 a.m. class in the morning is always a painful and lazy thing to do. Some people doesn't have a problem with waking up early because they are usually the early birds. But for some students who tend to be lazy, it's a painful job to do. So in order to get more accurate results, we will be setting our sampling frames to students who has their first class from period 1 to period 4 in CPU course. So for the data collection method, we will be following these steps taken to collect the data. So first off, we posted the survey in our classroom page, and we personally go and ask potential person to answer the survey so that we know that if a person have a period 1 or period 4 or period any period which is their first period. And the survey is about requesting for anonymous information from students, which has been already mentioned. For the analysis of the data, we use the data collected from the survey, then we put it in the table. Then after that, we create a scatter plot setting distance as our independent variable and dependent variable as time interval. Then after that, we find the line of best fit equation, a trend line. To calculate our central tendency, we use a Google spreadsheet. So we found the mean, which is 84.28 approximately, and the median is like 72.5, and the mode is 60. So everything is in meter because our independent variable is our distance.
We calculate measures of spread by spreadsheet. First of all, standard deviation was 51.71 and interquartile range was 41.25. Finally, for the outliers, we have negative 1.875 for low value and 163.13 for the high values. However, we don't have any values that lower than negative 1.875. We only have values that greater than 163.13. So our outliers are 165 and 240. For analysis, the data linear trend line is drew, which is y equal to 2.44x plus 67.3. Therefore, the graph shows value of r square. Then r is 0.44, which represents how close the data to trend line. Also, the least squares trend line is drew, which is y equal to 73.2 minus 0.194x plus 0.103x squared. Therefore, the graph shows value of r squared, then r was 0.46, which represents how close the data to trend line. Considering that the r values are between negative 1 and 1, this data has positive moderate linear correlation. For the linear regression, y is equal to 2.44x plus 67.3. Let x is equal to 12 for the interpolation, then the value is 96.58. This meaning, if there is student who live 12 kilometers far from school, he may wake up 96.58 minutes before the first class. Then for the extrapolation, the let x is equal to 40. Then we got the value for 164.5, meaning If there is a student who lives 40 kilometers far from school, he probably wake up 164.9 minutes before the first class. However, extrapolation is less accurate than interpolation because it is out of data.
Next, we have the variables, which is independent variable and dependent variable from our data. The first graph shows the independent variable, which is the distance between a student's house and the college. So by looking at the bar graph, we can find that students usually live near the school, and which fall in under the category of 0 to 5 kilometers, and it is the highest there. And next graph we have the dependent variable, which is the time interval between time of waking up and their first class. Most students wake up 31 to 60 minutes before the class. The overall frequency of interval decreases as time of interval increases.
Cause and effect. This can be common cause factor. This is because there can be external variable costs such as personal habits, transportation, time of first class. Some people may like to get up early regardless of class time. Also, students who drive own car will waking up late than students who go to school by taxi or walking. Finally, the different class time may affect on result. Students who has first class at late time has enough time to sleep. For example, there is students who has first class at period 4. He may get up around 9 since he already sleep enough, but he will be recorded as a diligent student who wake up 3 hours before the class.
For the summary of our research, that we did mention the distance between the student's house to college, and students are more likely to be diligent and they will be willing to wake up earlier than students who live near the college. So as our hypothesis, but this overall hypothesis was taken under careful consideration since students related to our experiment have found that the students usually live close to school also wake up early to study. Hence, we examined students around the CPU community if this was true. However, this was not exactly the correlation that we encounter when we analyze our results. In our case, we found that our hypothesis was partially correct. However, extraneous variables have influenced our experiment, which had skewed our data. Therefore, we were able to come up with some extraneous variable as part of our thinking process, which might be a reason why our results were not accurate enough. So the extraneous results that we have encountered could be due to the independent learner, and independent learner is someone who wakes up early so that they can plan their study effectively. There's such learners or students could actually wake up early to study. Hence, we conclude that even with the extraneous results, our hypothesis can be proven, and that there is a correlation between the student's place of stay and the time that they woke up. For the last part, we have a survey bias in our research. So for the time being, we had initially chose only students having their first class to be period 1 or period 4 to analyze if our hypothesis was correct. However, this could have been possibly given rise to sampling bias. This is because students from just these 3 or just 4 periods could not possibly represent the whole CPU community. So that there could be a sampling bias that have skewed our result by a percentage.